All right, good morning, everyone. It is 8:45 in the morning on September the 10th, 2021, and this is my trading strategy session. So, the first thing I have up today is DraftKings. DraftKings is a stock that I've been keeping an eye on for the past few days for a sustained move past $64.19. Just kind of a little bit of a perspective here. Back here on the 2nd of October 2021 or 2020, so almost a year ago now, there was a peak, and then it went to a trough on DraftKings there. And that peak was at $64.19, and then it bottomed out down here in November, a month later, and made this sustained climb up here to a high of $74.38. Nice uptrend, a pretty nasty move in there, but it was, it's a nice uptrend. So at this point, what I'm expecting is that DraftKings is going to catch support here, and oftentimes what you'll see is when a stock in regular session, so when it can't make it past and hold above a certain price and it's bullish, then it'll gap up over that price resistance. And $64.19 here, you can see here on September the 7th, the stock hit a high of $64.18 and pulled back. Then here on the 8th, it actually made a high of $64.58, but then just couldn't close above the level. Yesterday, it made a high of $64.50, and it still couldn't close above the level. And so the stock, it hasn't made in any of these three touches right here, and hasn't had this severe sell-off. It hasn't had this severe reaction to the downside. And so, generally speaking, what you'll see is that's bullish behavior. It's hanging around these prices up high, and it's looking to get energy to cruise back, cruise up above it. And it looks like it's opening above $64 if it opened right now. There's still another 45 minutes until the opening bell, so it's possible, in the pre-market, this thing could dip down. Dip down, and close below, 64.19. Pre-market activity is, it's 60,000 shares traded. Let's see, average volume on this thing. Let's see if I can find it here. Average volume. I don't have average volume down here. Let's see. It trades quite regularly, 14 million, 13 million, 15 million. It trades above 10 million shares a day quite, often. So a pre-market of 62,000 shares right now, isn't any, that doesn't seal its fate or that doesn't make the call for the day. And so what this thing still could, even though it's looking really strong right now in the pre-market, relatively speaking, let's do some math on it real quick. So clear 60, we'll call it 62,000, divided by 10 million shares traded. It's 0.0062, and that's conservative. It's a 0.0062 or a 0.6% volume of trading in the pre-market. It's setting it up nicely. You like to see it, but let's see what happens in the regular hours. I'm going to take a stab at this thing at 64. If it gives a chance at 64.19, above and below, I am going to take a chance at buying at 64.19 if it dips below in regular market hours. And this thing's pretty volatile, so I imagine that it'll probably give me that entry. We'll see. Okay, so that's DraftKings. And there's no news. This is just something that I've been watching for a long time. This is my strategy on it. This is what I'm going to do. EFTR, now this is just one that I'm watching here. You can see here on the daily, I've missed this thing. I don't remember seeing it hit the scanner. But this thing is put in a couple of days here where there's some serious momentum. I mean, let's see, it opened here. Let's go here. It opened on the 8th at $11.70 and went up to as high as $40.42. I don't remember seeing this thing at all anywhere, and it's really too bad because there is definitely some money to be made trading EFTR on the 8th. And even yesterday it had a pretty impressive run up. Well, actually, I think though yesterday was, let's see here, the 10-minute. Oh yeah, it opened yesterday. Wow, it opened at $24.44, and in the first 10 minutes, it ran up to $29.90. It looks like. That's incredible. Yeah, I haven't seen this thing at all as it's been making these moves. And I probably won't trade this today, but you never know. I mean, this thing's got a lot of momentum, and if it starts giving really good momentum setups, then, I'll do it. If it starts hitting the scanner and so on and so on. If there might be a lot of people watching this thing. This thing's popping up on news from the 24th of August, something about it joining Effector Therapeutics and blank check firm Locust Walk Acquisitions said Thursday they have agreed to merge in a deal that will make the cancer therapies developer a publicly listed company. Okay. How is it not publicly listed already? I don't know, it's really weird. It's publicly listed right now. I don't know why. What's the difference between it being publicly listed now and being publicly listed with Locust Walk Acquisition Company? I don't know. Low likelihood of trading this today. We'll see though. AFRM, this is very interesting. So they just reported earnings. And let's see. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so Affirm's fiscal 2022 revenue guidance lands above market consensus. That's right. This thing is talking about doing, there's a more condensed version. There we go. So a couple of interesting things here is reported a fiscal Q4 loss of 48 cents per diluted share late Thursday compared with earnings of 17 cents per share a year earlier. So a pretty steep tumble in diluted share per share of diluted earnings. Things, growth companies that can happen with growth companies when operating costs, to facilitate growth, just shoot up because you need to hire more people and you need more fax machines copiers, and there's all sorts of stuff. I haven't looked at the book, so I don't know exactly what it is in their operations costs that's causing them to have a go from a 17 cent in the black to 48 cents in the red. But whatever it is, Wall Street definitely is blowing it off because of and actually also while I'm at it, Capital IQ estimated gap loss of 33 cents per share on average, and so still 48 cents is still below consensus. However, after this earnings report, you'll see revenue climbed to $261.8 million, and that's over 153.3 million from a year ago. And then those revenues just really topped the street expected revenue of 224 million. So that's an upside as revenues go. Let's see, 261 minus 224 equals divided by 224. That's a 16% beat on revenues. And then their forward guidance, what they're saying is expects Q1 revenue to be 240 million to 250 million, and fiscal year 2022 revenue to be 1.16 to 1.19 billion. So this thing, it's a growth story. And it's probably, and what the street is saying is, okay, it's setting expectations for, fiscal year 2022 at 1.16 or 1.19. That means the company's probably setting a low bar. The company's saying, okay, we're setting 1.13, 1.19, but we actually think we're going to hit 1.5 in fiscal year 2022, or much higher than 1.19. So the street's saying, oh, okay, well, that's how the game is played. That's what the whole sort of trick between analyst estimates and forward guidance and so on is the company's supposed to guide low. So realistically, they're supposed to guide conservatively and then knock the ball out of the park when it comes time to performance, and that will definitely cause an upswing in the price of the stock. So let's see what's going on here. Pre-market high is $114.51. I put a Fibonacci at the pre-market high. I started the Fibonacci at the pre-market high. Pre-market low is $111.74. I'm the likelihood of me trading AFRM today is high, and I don't know. This stock is behaving its behavior is very strong pre-market. I mean, as of right now, it's up 22.62%. Right. So there are definitely buyers in it. Let's see what the volume is with almost $700,000 or 700 shares traded this morning pre-bell. That's pre-market. That's not post-market and pre-market. That's just pre-market. So what's interesting about what I like about this is that this is going to give several setups. There's going to be the open, and so if there's a dip down, if the stock price opens, there's profit taking, there's a dip down, and it runs back up past the open again, the opening price is going to be a buy. If it comes down to this first Fibonacci level, dips down a little bit, and then comes back up above it again, that's a buy. If it comes down to I seriously doubt that it's going to come down to the 61.8 or the 50% fib. It's possible, but staggered entries between the 61.8 and the 50 is a good way to trade this. Like staggering, say 50 shares between 105.8 and 103.05. Okay, let's do a little bit of math. 105.8. We'll call it I'm just going to call it 103. That's a $2.08 spread. So we'll pick 5 entries for if I divide it by 4, that'll give me 5 entries. So 70 cents. So spread orders out 70 cents between 105.8 and 103, and there'll be 5 entries there. So then. So yeah, there's a lot going on with this stock. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be heavily traded. It already is quite heavily traded for a stock that's at $112 per share. To trade 700,000 shares pre-market. It's a lot of trading. Actually, let's do the math on that real quick. Let's see, 112 times 713,123 equals, so $80 million worth of shares have been traded already just in the pre-market. Relatively speaking, that's actually not much in comparison to what it'll probably do during the day, but you get the idea. Okay, so yeah, DraftKings probably will trade. EFTR probably will not trade. AFRM probably will, a high degree of confidence I'll trade this one. CLVT, and this is an interesting one too. Now, CLVT just recently announced it's taken a major hit right now. Pre-market, actually, it was worse down here. So right now it's off 7.88%. I don't know a lot about this stock, although I have. There were markings on my chart prior to today. I went ahead and took them off. Basically, this thing is getting pounded pre-market after it has announced pricing of a secondary ordinary share offering, right? And they are doing a secondary offering of 25 million shares. So a dilution, now it's getting punished. The Wall Street does not like secondary offerings, and certainly not ones that are just suddenly announced and then performed. So right now, so they're doing a 25 million share offering on an outstanding of already 641 million shares. So that's a dilution of 4%. You see, 0.039, 3.9%, whatever you want to call it, 4%. And the stock is off by 7.62%. I'm looking for this thing today. I have an alarm. There's this support line down here going from March 5th of 21 over here to August of 21. And the reason that I'm not taking it from over here in March of 2020 is because this area, this dip right here, that's a bit anomalous. That's because of the big financial crisis or COVID crisis, whatever you want to call it, that happened back in early 2020. So this one there's a little bit more going on here too. Let's take a look at these Fibonacci's that I have up. So the first Fibonacci I have is from the peak here. It peaked out at $34.79 and made this bottom down here at $21.90. That's more than a 30. I think that's roughly a 35% drop in price. So 34.79 minus 21.90 divided by 34.79. It's a 37% price correction, and exactly what caused it, I don't know. And it's not that I don't care, but it doesn't matter a whole lot to me right now. So there's some price resistance here at $25.12, according to this Fibonacci right here. You can see $26.82 was close to that number, was acting as resistance here on this Fibonacci. And so, and the support line is close to the $21.90 at the bottom. So it's on watch. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's an idea. It's a trade idea. Now, from the gap, from the recent low to the high to this run up, here we have some support levels. And if you look at the pre-market, 23.75 here, 23.75 was a support level here for CLVT. So what I'm getting at is I think that this sell-off in the stock on the announcement of a secondary offering is a bit overdone in the pre-market. But I'm still going to wait to see where this thing opens and see where it starts getting. I think resistance is going to come in somewhere around the $25 mark. If it can break through that, continue higher, then that'll be bullish. But there's a lot going on here, and there's a trade in here somewhere. I don't know if I'll take it or not. I don't know if I'll be paying attention to it at the time. There's a trade in here somewhere though, and it's kind of just going to be a matter of figuring it out, where that trade is going to occur, where that support line is going to be, so on and so on. All right. Let's see. CLVT is hard to borrow, and according to Street Smart Edge. And there's VNCE. Now this one, I only have this on watch. This is just this is kind of one that I'm looking at for the possibility of trading it at a later date. I just want to see how it behaves today. The news on this one today is let's see, on the 9th here. Yeah, Vince Holding Corp says may offer and sell up to 3 million shares of common stock. Whoop-de-doo. it just doesn't really do anything for me. But I'm keeping an eye on it. This is a stock that I may trade in the future. So that's why it's up there. And actually, did you see that headline that said Lake? It's been a while since I've seen Lake pop up in the news anywhere. Let's see what's going on with it. I traded Lake. I traded this once or twice quite some time ago. Yeah, here it is right here. 48.34 high. Yeah, I've traded this thing a couple of times. Let's see if I have any old Fibonacci's. I don't. I took them off. This thing's taking a dump pre-market. I'm just going to I'm going to put this one up on, I'm just going to have an eye on it today to see what it's doing. I think Lakeland, is that yeah, industrial specialties. Okay. All right, everybody. So let's see. Pre-market on the SPY. I haven't pulled it up yet. All right. If it opened right now, it opened up 0.4% higher than yesterday. That means the VIX is most likely, yeah, VIX is under 18, this 18.2 level. Interesting. That's interesting. There might be, we'll see what happens. See the 10-minute and the 1 minute. It's hard to say what's going to happen, or it's hard to say which way the open is going to go. There's some kind of options expiration happening today, and it's supposed to be kind of a little bit of a wild day. Yeah, I'm still bullish, you know, so right now I've got a relative strength that's in the middle on the 1 minute here. You can see down here the relative strength is just kind of meandering. And the relative strength here is on the 10-minute is a little bit low. It's definitely coming down. I think I'm going to look for a bullish setup today. So let's see, the 1 minute relative strength on the SPY is, it's pre-market though. So it's hard to trust, these volumes and what relative strength is saying with such low volumes. But yeah, I'm looking for a bullish setup. I'm looking for the opportunity to get along today. So I'll look for an opportunity for the VIX to spike. If the VIX spikes to 18.2 again today, it'll probably be another entry for me. I'm going to put an alarm on it. Now let's see, crypto, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at the moment right now short term. I'm only talking short term. Crypto is bearish. Bitcoin is bearish, I should say. This is a classic bear flag. Now it could end up being a bear trap. Coming into this flag right here. The orientation that a stock comes into a flag is typically the orientation is typically the way that a stock price or an equity price will exit the flag. So here we have this bear flag right here, and it's coming in from the top, and resolution to this pattern is typically to the downside. So it enters the bear flag, goes into consolidation, and then will exit this formation to the downside until it finds support. Excuse me, I need to clear my throat here real quick. Pardon me. So for the short term, it's bearish. Bitcoin is bearish right now. For the short term, for trading setups, you ought to be looking for bearish setups. It's still, I'm calling it neutral. I'm calling Bitcoin neutral until it breaks out above 49,356. Once Bitcoin decides to break out above that level, then it's bullish. In between these two levels right here, Bitcoin, this is long term. We're talking 3 months or more. Bitcoin is neutral in between these two levels. I imagine what's going to happen with this bear flag is it's going to resolve to the downside. It's going to resolve to the downside, and it's going to find support here at 42,000, at least short-term support. I don't know if it's going to be long-term support or not. And I've got, for whatever reason, I've got September 17th marked off as an important date, or this area, this time frame right here is an important time frame, and I don't know why, but we ought to see some action. This formation right here ought to resolve by the 17th of September, and then there ought to be a different movement. There ought to be something more decisive going on than just sort of this short-term bear flag and in neutral movement. Okay, everybody, that is my pre-market trading strategy session. So good luck out there. Keep your risk tight. Click like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, tap the bell, and I will see you at the recap. I am out.